In this segment, you will examine a basic investment cash flow model and learn about the types of investor preferences, such as the initial investment, size of periodic cash flows, timing of periodic cash flows, and proceeds of sale, reversion. Let's get started.
What is the cash flow model and how do you use it?
Well, the cash flow model is a key tool in analyzing and identifying potential for a real estate investment. I use it to help investors compare one investment versus another. The model is a visual way to illustrate the amounts and timing of the cash flows. It starts with the initial investment and then shows the periodic income while you have the property and ends with the cash flow from the final sale of the investment.
And because of the timing of the money, or TVM, the timing of the cash flows can be positive or negative, and that's important, right?
Well, that's right. That's right. It's critical to ask these four questions. How many dollars go into the investment? When do those dollars go into the investment? How many dollars come out of the investment? And when do those dollars come out of the investment?
The first step in the process of comparing investment alternatives is to reduce each alternative to its cash flows. This is done by setting up a T-bar and placing the amount and timing of each cash flow in the appropriate place on the T-bar. The T-bar will use to compare investment alternatives of equal risk and select the preferable investment alternative has the following four components. In the following exercise, select the more desirable investment, assuming all the investments are equal in risk. Let's compare two investment alternatives in which all components are equal except the initial investment. Which would you prefer and why? Let's compare two more investment alternatives in which all components are equal except the amounts of the annual cash flows. Which would you prefer and why? Let's compare two more investment alternatives in which all components are equal except the timing of the annual cash flows. Which would you prefer and why? Let's compare two more investment alternatives in which all of the components are equal except the sale proceeds or reversion. Which would you prefer and why? Let's compare our last two investment alternatives. In these two investments, the only thing equal is a 5-year holding period. In this example, when all of the components are different, we are forced to come up with a common denominator performance measure to choose the better alternative. We will explore in depth such a common denominator measure later in this course. This segment provided a basic investment cash flow model and addressed the types of investor preferences such as the initial investment, size of periodic cash flows, timing of periodic cash flows, and proceeds of sale or reversion.